What's up, everyone? This is Puka, and welcome to another game I played on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed the Thanksgiving videos I put out. If you haven't had a chance to look at those, go back, look at the epic Thanksgiving deck, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that one. But now we're going to move past that and look at some more, metagame decks, some more top-tier stuff. And one of the decks that a lot of people request to see is Virizion Genesect. It's a pretty standard Tier 1 deck at this point. But there are a lot of different ways you can run it, because the deck in general has a lot of open space, because you don't really have to run too many things. It's usually just Virizion and Genesect, and then maybe a few other tech attackers. And it's not like Stage 2 decks where you have to run, rare candy. You don't have to run a ton of Pokemon. So you end up having a lot of open space in this deck to kind of throw in whatever you want. We saw a lot of people use Drifblim. They would actually put in an entire 4/4 Drifblim line into this deck, which is just crazy. That just tells you how much space is in this deck. So we're going to see a mirror match in this game, and we'll see how the two different styles of this deck kind of match up. Because I think both of us are kind of playing a little bit differently than each other. We'll see. It looks like my opponent is way in the lead right now because my hand is terrible. I don't have any good supporter. I have a Shadow Triad, which can get back Hypnotoxic Laser, but that's going to be useless because Virizion EX has Verdant Wind, so once a Grass Energy gets onto something, my lasers will be absolutely worthless. And he gets the first Emerald Slash, which allows him to search for 2 Grass Energy and put it onto one of his bench Pokemon. So that Bouffalant is all powered up, ready to go, and that is not looking good for me. I do draw a Team Plasma Ball, so we can search for the Genesect EX. And my version is a little bit different. This is a deck I saw people playing at the Indiana Regional Championships. Like I said, there are a lot of different ways to play Virizion Genesect. And this one plays Deoxys EX in order to give your Genesect a little bit of a boost when you use Megalo Cannon. Because 100 damage doesn't always seem like it's quite enough. And between Deoxys and Hypnotoxic Laser, sometimes you can hit quite high numbers of damage, and you don't always have to use that G-Booster to get big knockouts that way. So that's what I use in this deck. It's not the right or the wrong way. And oh, thank goodness, my opponent decided to play an N there. I'm really not sure why, but I am very happy that he did. Now we may have a shot at this game as I get a fresh hand of 6, and I see some beautiful supporter cards. Now, one of the big cards that came back for Virizion Genesect is Energy Switch. Because Virizion EX, once you attack with it, you load up energy on something. Normally, that's about it. You don't really want the energy on Virizion anymore. Sure, it's nice to Emerald Slash for 50 if you need to, but I mean, later, you would rather put that energy somewhere else. So Energy Switch is actually a pretty big deal for this deck. And, wow, this was really bad. Not really what I was going for here. I can put a Psychic on Deoxys EX, or I can put a Plasma Energy on Genesect and maybe Red Signal out something. We're going to put the Psychic on Deoxys just so I have a chance to at least do some damage at some point. And Mr. Mime is going to be pretty important here to block the bench damage from my opponent's Genesect EX, so I'm going to switch and try to save that. One of the big things that happened early on in this game on the first turn is my opponent discarded 2 Plasma Energy, and then another one got taken out of the deck with Chorus Machine. So Genesect EX's Red Signal activates kind of like Pokemon Catcher, where you can just grab a bunch of Pokemon, but it's only when you attach a Plasma Energy to the Genesect EX. So 3 of those are gone, so I really only have to worry about 1 more of those catcher effects, because most decks don't play as many Pokemon catcher anymore, now that you have to use a coin flip to use it. So here is the retreat into a Genesect, and then the Hypnotoxic Laser after an energy switch. Like I said, energy switch, a very useful card to have in Virizion Genesect decks now. Energy switch in general is a very big game changer, gives a lot of decks a lot of flexibility and unpredictability. It's really cool. So we do see Bouffalant definitely going down here, and we'll see what else happens. The Hypnotoxic Laser plus Megalo Cannon will knock out the Bouffalant. My opponent actually uses an extra laser here, probably knowing that Virizion will be coming out at some point. And there we go. So now I'm going to promote Mr. Mime. I'm just going to try to throw up 1 prize Pokemon as long as I can until I can set up. And oh my goodness, another hand with no grass energy. I'm going to put out the Tropical Beach at this point, getting rid of the Verbank, because I need to draw cards here. And then I'm going to put the Plasma Energy on to Genesect. I can bring out Mr. Mime or Mewtwo there. I maybe should have brought out Mewtwo to kind of, well, it'll force my opponent to have a switch or a float stone there to get Mewtwo out of the active. Or if my opponent wants to attack with Mewtwo, then I could just respond with the Deoxys. I'm going to Chorus Machine onto the Deoxys EX here. And then Tropical Beach to draw 3 cards. And we are very much so deep in a hole at this point. Just look at the field. There's a fully powered Genesect, fully powered Bouffalant, Mewtwo with 1 energy, Virizion with 1 energy. He's up a prize. And I have a Mr. Mime with 50 damage on it, a Genesect with 80 damage on it, and then, hey, at least I have Deoxys powered up. We got one thing going for me, but that's it. Alright, we'll see what my opponent does here. We try to stall for a turn, using the red signal on the Mr. Mime, forcing my opponent to pay an energy to retreat. At this point, my opponent has gone through a decent amount of energy. You can see there are, 7 grass on the field, and then a plasma energy, and there are also 2 plasma energy in the discard pile. So my opponent very well could run out of energy this game. It is a common problem with Virizion Genesect decks. But there we see a Shadow Triad, and this card is really useful, especially in combination with Red Signal on Genesect, and also to get back G-Booster. But he's going to use the Plasma Energy and put it on to the benched Genesect EX. Red Signal out my Genesect that already has 80 damage on it. And then Megalo Cannon for the knockout. I really don't mind this happening, though. Now there's 4 energy on the Genesect, which will allow me to actually use Deoxys to Helix Force for the knockout. That works out pretty well for me, I would say. Now, on the other hand, he also took 2 prizes on that EX. But now Mr. Mime is kind of safe because, well, my opponent's almost out of Plasma Energy. So my opponent's probably still going to have to take 2 more EX knockouts to win. But we'll see. A lot can happen here. I'm going to play an Ultra Ball. I realize I probably need to get Virizion EX into play at some point. I go ahead and Ultra Ball away the Shadow Triad, and then my 3rd Genesect EX. Don't think I'll be using either of those this game. It just seems pretty unlikely that I'll have a turn to actually use Shadow Triad at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And then there are some cards here I don't really want to get rid of. I could Juniper here. But really all I want to do is attach an energy this turn. I'm taking a look to see what my opponent has gone through. So yeah, I'm just going to take the energy search and then search for a grass just so I get my energy attachment this turn. And then I can Helix Force for 150 and take the knockout. So alright, we're still down in prizes, but at least we put a dent into my opponent's attackers. An end that turn would have been very good to put my opponent's hand down to 3 cards, but it doesn't look like that was meant to happen. That's okay. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. There's a Hypnotoxic Laser. There's no grass on Deoxys, so it will get hit by that. And here we see the Skyla. I wonder what that's going to go for. Something like a Silver Bangle would almost end the game. I don't think many Virizion Genesect decks play Silver Bangle, but the Bouffalant, oh, he would need the Verbank as well. Bouffalant with a Silver Bangle, a Laser, and a Verbank actually does 180 total to an EX, which is pretty sweet. But doesn't look like that's happening here. I'm going to go with an Escape Rope. I really can't knock out Bouffalant unless I use a G-Booster or get a second Deoxys into play. And I actually want to keep that energy in play. So I'm going to play the Escape Rope here. And we'll actually just send out Virizion EX, because I can energy switch onto it, and then Laser, and Airbolt Slash. And that way I don't have to put my Genesect in harm's way. And I can also just Laser for the knockout. So we're starting to pick up a little steam here. I'm going to bench another Virizion just in case. And then Juniper for a fresh hand of 7. And now we can Emerald Slash. Take the knockout on the Mr. Mime after the poison, thanks to my opponent's Verbank. And then I have to decide, do I want to take 1 grass or 2? I don't want to put too many energy on a Genesect because Mewtwo could X-Ball. And let's see. Do I take 2 here? Because I may have to G-Booster, so it may be nice to have the extra energy on there. I don't know. It's a weird call. Looks like I'm going to take 2 just because of G-Booster. And it would take so much for my opponent to have enough energy to X-Ball for the knockout, especially when he can't Laser. It would take 9 total energy, so I'm not too worried about it. We're going to put the 4 energy on there again for the G-Booster. And then we'll see a Juniper from my opponent, Bouffalant, still coming out. But we can see the effect of no Pokemon Catcher in the format really in this game. If Pokemon Catcher were still around, I do not see myself ever winning this game. I mean, look at what would happen. It would just be Catcher, Gold Breaker, Knockout, Catcher, Knockout, game over. Mr. Mime and Deoxys would just be done for. Now here I'm going to play Skyla, and we're going to fetch an Ultra Ball so we can get the second Deoxys into play. So we'll go ahead and take the Ultra Ball. And then we can Ultra Ball, get rid of... I'm trying to get rid of excess cards at this point in case my opponent plays an N. So we're getting rid of the Virizion and an N. Getting the second Deoxys. And then we can bench that one. And now Megalo Cannon will knock out the Bouffalant in 1 hit. Get an energy switch as well. Move that Psychic back onto Deoxys, just in case some fluke play with Mewtwo does happen. And I'll probably burn the Hypnotoxic Laser as well. We're trying to play around an N at this point. If my opponent tries to disrupt my hand, I want to give myself the best odds of drawing good cards that will help me in that situation. And here we go. Megalo Cannon for 100. I actually get to do 20 somewhere as well. I'm going to probably pick the Genesect, because it's the only place where it could potentially matter. All the other places probably won't matter. But alright, here we go. Mewtwo is going to come out. Looks like that's the only thing really powered up at this point. My opponent puts out the Tropical Beach. Looks like we are fairly similar, but I do play the Deoxys, and I don't think my opponent does. Looks like he's favoring Mewtwo instead. And alright, let's see how this game finishes out. Think about how far behind I was at the beginning. And honestly, again, if Pokemon Catcher were around, I think I would... I mean, if it were around without the coin flip still, I cannot see myself winning. I mean, look at my bench. Look at how many things are horribly damaged. But in this new format, it does not matter. And we're going to attach the G booster and do 220 damage thanks to Deoxys, and collect our final 2 prizes for the game. So that was a very interesting mirror match. These kinds of matchups are extremely unpredictable, and I thought that was an interesting one to show off. We made a big comeback there, so it just shows you being patient and, thinking out your moves can definitely go a long way, no matter how far you're down. Always give yourself the best chance you can to win. Alright, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I am Puka from the Top Cut. We'll have some more videos for you guys soon, and I will see you guys next time.